Offering the gift of hospitality is natural to many of us, making sure that our guests are welcomed and have a place where they can come to visit. If they are hungry or if they are thirsty, we give them food or drink. We do this easily for those that we know. Yet we're also called, though, to offer hospitality to everyone that we encounter, even strangers. Hospitality, how do we find ways to show it and share it, especially to strangers? How can we show the love of Jesus to the world if we regard strangers with fear and distrust? If you've ever been a stranger, a newcomer, then you know how great it feels to be welcomed, to be seen, to be tended to or taken care of, to encounter any show of hospitality, no matter how small that show of hospitality might be. Jesus said in the book of Matthew, chapter 10, "Whoever welcomes you welcomes me, and whoever welcomes me welcomes the one who sent me. Whoever welcomes a prophet in the name of a prophet will receive a prophet's reward. And whoever welcomes a righteous person in the name of a righteous person will receive the reward of the righteous. And whoever gives even a cup of cold water to one of these little ones in the name of a disciple, truly, I tell you, none of these will lose their reward." Jesus said, as we just heard, whoever receives you receives me, because in one another we see the face of Jesus. And it's the first step of accepting and believing that the Messiah is truly one of us and in all of us. I had the experience of an incredible opportunity to receive hospitality. While attending seminary, I was blessed to travel to South Africa as part of our intercultural immersion experience. A segment of our travels included visiting a remote village in far northeast South Africa, where we attended a celebration of a newly acquired farmland. It was imperative to the villagers that they have good land on which to grow crops and grow their own food. 90% of these villagers were HIV positive, and they needed to have a balanced and nutritionally sound diet in order to take the medications necessary to keep them healthy. Seeing these people, one would never know that they were dealing with HIV. Yet, because they were taught to grow their food and eat healthily, they were able to live well. And what food they had produced. When we first walked into the tent where they were hosting the worship and celebration, we couldn't see the tops of the tables for all of the food that they had brought in their harvest. There were gorgeous melons, mangoes, potatoes, tomatoes, and so much more were set before us. We settled in, sitting in the seats of honor that had been prepared for us, while the celebration began with the worship service. We did note, though, that during the worship service, the villagers were passing water to each other. They were using this water to take their medicine as it was time. They passed a pitcher which was filled with muddy, brown, cloudy water, and but one glass that they shared, passing from one to the next, from which everyone drank. This water had been carried from a muddy pit about a mile from the village. So they would have to go down and draw that water each day, not only to be able to take their medications, but to provide water for the households, to provide water for irrigation, and to provide water for any livestock that they had. But this is what they had, and this is what they shared with each other. When the worship service ended, the celebration continued. By now, though, we had begun to feel parched and thirsty in the heat and dust that was surrounding us. And the villagers could see that we were parched. They brought us bottled water that they had bought with their meager earnings, received from the sale of their crops, knowing that we would become sick if we drank from the same water they had been sharing. These angels extended the hospitality of fresh, clean water and expensive water to we who until an hour before had been perfect strangers. And it did not stop there. When it was time to leave, we also left the celebration with bags filled to the brim of fresh fruit. They welcomed us, they saw us, and they tended to us with pure hospitality. They were kind to us and an example of what Jesus was talking about in his words to the disciples. And so it is with our offering kindness to one another. We can't help the whole world at once, but we can certainly start by helping one person at a time. How can we help? Well, as Jesus said, we can offer a cup of water to someone who is thirsty. We can also offer rides to medical appointments for those who cannot drive. We can offer to get groceries or share from our vegetable gardens. We can help by checking on neighbors. We can offer our presence and a listening ear when it is needed. We can also help by just being a presence to someone. We can help, as some families have done this last week, a couple of weeks in Steamboat here, by hosting high school educational exchange students who have come from France, by giving them homes away from home during their stay here. And almost most importantly, we can help by allowing others to help us and accepting their hospitality towards us. Jesus said it can be as small as a cup of water offered to someone who is thirsty. And hospitality truly is what defines us as those who read and listen to the words of Jesus and his example. And hospitality is a sign that God's love is offered and received as we welcome and see and tend to others. And remember, always keep a cup of cold water waiting by the door. Amen.